In this video, I'm going to give a reasonably detailed overview of how to actually operate the 4x4 matrices here. So let's just look at the functionality on this again. Is what we have is supports 4K, and what we have is we have the ability to run in 4 HDMI inputs from 4 different devices, and then to run out the output either via HDMI cable or alternatively via an Ethernet cable, which we can use this converter unit to then come along and convert it back into a HDMI output over to a TV, and this will also allow us to remotely control both the matrices in terms of which input we're selecting and also to control the set-top boxes that are worked off the system. So it's a very flexible here in terms of the functionality it's given us and the way we can do it in different ways and all the rest of it. So for this, what have we set up? Well, we came along with 2 set-top boxes. We have a satellite and an Android set-top box here. We have 2 output monitors here, and what we're doing is we have 2 set-top boxes working on input 1 and 2, and for the output monitors we have them running off output 2 and 4. Okay, so what we have next then is we have a user manual and things like that, which would have guided us through it here. But on this one here, what I'm going to do at this point is, because this is sort of the demonstration of the working it rather than an overview of the product, which we've done separately, I'm going to give just a quick demonstration of how we're going to get this to work. So I'm going to focus on this here. So think about this. This is output 2 here. So what we're going to do is we will, I'm just going to give a demonstration of, if we're doing this manually from the front of the box, what we're doing with output 2, we can see we have output 2 here and it's using input 1. So if I went number 2 here and number 2 here, we could see anyway that now we've switched over to the satellite thing. If we wish to switch back, we'd go 2 and 1. But you see it changes on the screen, and that's the way it works. Now, if we look at the Cat5 cable that we've run from the back of the unit here, coming out of output number 2, it's run over here and it's running into this screen here directly. So what I'm going to do now is I've added on this IR sensor here, and what I can do at this point in time is I can actually come along and I can grab this remote control here, and I can see that I'm using input number 1. So if I come along and press input number 3, I'm going to get a blank screen because there is input number 3, none there. But if I come along and press input number 2, it'll come along here. We'll see, we get the satellite output, and input number 1, we can come along here. And this is all being controlled via this IR and the remote control directly onto it, okay? So it works extremely well there. But another thing we could do here is if I grabbed the remote control of the Android box that have actually worked here, what we'll see here is that I've actually stacked these boxes and we have a little IR sensor working directly off there. So what I can actually do is I can come along and I can aim here and I could flick through the menu. As you can see, the menu changing here. So think about the loop and that this is following. The IR signal is coming down here into this controller unit via this Cat5 cable from here, and from there it's going into the matrices, and then we have this IR sensor which is here, which is on the output side, which runs over and sends a signal into that box and tells it to change channels. So you can see it's very flexible in that manner of what it can do. And it's basically the same logic as we add on the different ones. So let's think of all the features that this is displaying for us here again. So it's allowing 4 HDMI inputs, and what it's saying to us is we can run this to 4 different outputs via this matrices, and at each one of those we can decide if we want to run it via a HDMI lead or over a Cat5 cable that's converted back to HDMI. It also offers us the ability to remotely control the matrices to allow us to choose which of the inputs we're going to choose from that remote viewing location, and also to use the same sensor to actually operate the set-top box, to come along and choose channels or use a different functionality on it. So it's very flexible here. Like compared to other matrices that we see out there, this is doing an awful lot more. So it's really set for the premium type of market there, and I'm quite impressed now by what I found in terms of our practicing with this here. Works extremely smoothly. So that's it anyhow, an overview, the demonstration of the operating of the Labgear 4x4 matrices.